Right, in a recent video I did a mailbag and this thing here turned up, this Extron ADA4 300MX, and I was a bit curious about why it looked a bit different to when I saw in the listing. You know, there's damage on it which I didn't notice, like all this back here was bent and it didn't actually line up in here, it was all pushed in and it's curved in like this. And when I actually pulled it apart, because I had to change the voltages on it, because it's 120 volts setting, I had to change to 240. On the casing in the back here, you can actually see scrape marks where it's bent right in. You can actually see a scrape. It's shaped just like that. Curves right in like this. You know, probably about that far on the top and bottom cases. This whole back has been pushed right in at some point. Now, if I'd seen one that looked like it was all damaged in the pictures, I wouldn't have bought it. I would have bought one which didn't look like it was all damaged. Now, on the listing for this, which I'm going to show you in a second when I do the screen capture, the item listed didn't look like this. It was different. It was actually a different unit. I purchased a reasonable condition one. It wasn't brilliant condition, but it was okay. You know, a few scrapes and stuff like that you normally expect. That's what I purchased, and I got sent a damaged one. Now the seller has basically ripped me off. I tried to do a claim on it. Oh, first I contacted the seller. Hey, look, you know, I said this isn't the right thing. You know, I want a refund. And then he basically said get stuffed, and then you know, I pointed out the fact that he didn't send me the one I actually purchased, which is fraud. Anyway, so I went to eBay and you know, raised a dispute to, you know, a return request thing, saying basically though, for what I paid for this, what it's worth, is as much as the return postage. So it's not really worth sending it back, you know, because it will cost more. It's just ridiculous. Anyway, I raised a dispute, and eBay actually found in the seller's favour on a technicality, right? So what actually happened is, because this is 120 volts, right? It's not automatic switching. You have to change the jumper inside. But the seller put a sticker on it, right? A seal, which is, you can understand, you know. So if you open it up, you break the seal, and therefore your warranty with the seller is gone, right? You can understand that. But the seller had a technicality on this, because it has been opened up in order for me to change its voltage to check to see if the thing actually worked. It meant the thing was no longer in the condition which I received it in, and so therefore I couldn't return it. And so it got found in the seller's favour, not my favour, for him sending me a different unit to one that was advertised. So eBay even phoned me up and talked about it yesterday. They actually phoned me, so I was quite surprised by that. But when I raised an appeal, when I found in his favour, but I said basically because I opened it, that meant straight away it's the seller's favour, regardless of what he'd done. So this guy, I'm going to tell you who he is. I'm going to show you all that stuff and what his statements are. One other thing has got on there is that it states, well, when I spoke to eBay yesterday, they said, oh, if I have to return it, it's at the seller's expense. However, in the listings, the seller states it's at the buyer's expense, which means if I'd had to return this, it would have cost me more than it's worth. Alright, so I wouldn't be returning it. Another technicality. So this guy knows what he's doing as far as ripping people off goes. He's got a really good trade history, which is a strange thing, but I think it's because if you lodge a claim or dispute on eBay, you cannot post feedback, which means immediately the guy will have 100%, even if half of his trades are disputes and people aren't happy, because you cannot post negative feedback. So it's something you have to watch out for. Alright, so I'm going to show you this guy, because I'm warning all you lot to not trade with him, because he rips people off. Right, as evidenced by this. This is my evidence of that fact. He ripped me off, and he would not even consider dealing with me in that way. You know, he wasn't going to refund me. Even a partial refund wasn't an option. Right, I would have accepted a partial refund to you know, for the value loss of the damage on this thing. Okay, but the guy basically told me to get stuffed. So you know, he's not a nice guy, and I say don't trade with him. And he does electronics stuff, so you guys might end up trading with him. So I thought, well, I'd better warn you about it. So you know, if he's going to rip me off, that's fine, but I'm going to cost him some money by people not buying off him and not dealing with him, hopefully. Okay, so hopefully, you know, at least my viewership can avoid dealing with this guy and getting ripped off. That's something. Okay. The one thing I should also point out on this is that when I had it apart, I've actually straightened the back panel back out again. So it was bent and all curved in, so you can see now it's actually okay. I do have photos of this. I should probably include in the video, but yeah, I've straightened that back out again. But you can see here's a bit of a depression. Hopefully, you can see that where it's not flattened back out properly. But yeah, it's, you can still see a little bit in there, but it's slightly bent. But it's much better now. I've straightened it back out. But what worried me is that the circuit board is actually on the back of that back panel, right? So you've got the panel there. Circuit board is right here, attached to it. So if the back panel being bent like that, the circuit board is also bent like that. You know, so it may be problems down the road with that too, but we'll see. Alright, so here's the actual listing I purchased. Right, so here's the item here. You can see it all looks very nice. It looks like it's in reasonable condition. Here's the back panel. No damage. It all looks really nice. Okay, it looks fine. Okay, it looks like it's in good condition. And there's an example of a seal he uses. Okay, so this is the listing, and this is what I paid for it, and the shipping cost here. Right, as you can see, the worth is basically the same cost as the shipping. That's what it's worth. All right. So this is the guy here, healingmass. Don't deal with them. So he's got 2,730 trades, but like I said, 100% feedback. Well, it's because if you have a dispute with him, you cannot place negative feedback, and so that's always going to be 100% unless you have an issue with someone, because you can't actually say, hey, this person ripped me off, because you go to dispute, you can't place feedback in order to bring that 100% down. You know, if you don't raise a dispute, you can place feedback and do negative, but if you raise a dispute, then you can't. It's a stupid thing on eBay. That's just wrong. I should fix that. But this is the item. As you can see, it doesn't look like the one I purchased, or at least the one I've got. You know, for example, I've got a serial number sticker here, you know, and I've got writing here in pen and things like that, and it's got scrapes across the top here where it's been scratched off, and that label there isn't there. It's got a different label, you know, things like that. So yeah, don't deal with this guy, healingmass, right? He rips you off. You know what he's got here, guaranteed working condition. Well, barely. I think I opened up and I saw some bad soldering in it, which I had to fix. So so it says we offer a wide variety of electronic items. So if you're dealing with electronics and you see this guy, go the opposite direction, right? Do not buy from him, healingmass, right? Don't buy from him. So it says this is all this disclaimer stuff, right? So if you see this statement, don't buy it, because you know it's just serial number sticker must be present, return, warranty void. Right? So in case of something like this, where you have to open up to change voltage in order to test it, you void the warranty by avoiding blowing it up. Go figure. All right. And it says here, buyer pays return shipping, no returns paid by seller. Right. So that's the other little loophole he's got there. Right. See this? No exceptions despite any other eBay items planned or hidden. Right. So this is his other little loophole here, saying that hey, if you got an issue, I have to pay to send it back. Well, eBay says the seller's supposed to pay to send it back. Well, this here is saying, regardless of what eBay say, the buyer pays to send it back. Right. And it's always got to leave a thing about the seal here for your quality protection. No bullshit. That's for him. This is loophole, so he can send you the wrong item, and then you know you stuff. And again, same thing here. You can't open it up, even if you know it's required to open it up. This bit is just no power cable. That's fine. Blah blah blah. So. And this thing here saying you'll be photographed if you pick it up, which is also quite interesting. But yeah. So I thought I'd do a little video of that, warning everyone about dealing with this guy. Don't do it, because say he ripped me off. He committed fraud by sending me a different item to the one pictured, or at least much worse condition. If it is a different item in the same condition, that would have been fine, right? Because he does say he's got two, right? One sold, which is probably the one I've got, right? But is the other one also beaten up and crap like the one I've received? You know, it isn't in the same condition. This is supposed to be representative of condition. If it wasn't the same condition, it should have been stated down here, saying it's not in as good condition as photoed, or, you know, as photograph or something. You know, there should have been some kind of disclaimer saying this isn't of the actual item, something like that. But that's not there, right? So he has ripped me off, and I'm making sure that everybody on YouTube that wants to use my videos will know it. Okay, mainly to make sure nobody else gets ripped off by this same guy. Right? If he'd been helpful and you know, even considered a partial refund, then it would have been a non-issue, right? It would have been fine. Would have dealt with it. It would have been the end of it, and that's fine. But this guy is completely unreasonable to deal with. I've had other issues on eBay, and they've all been sorted out just fine, no problem at all. But this guy's been a real prick, put it that way, all right? And yeah, so don't buy from him. You know, as you can see, the condition on this one is fine. The condition I've received was not. It was much worse condition. You know, it's probably worth $20, not $40 in condition, right, for the damage on it. And in fact, I actually specifically told him, make sure it's well packaged, and then it wasn't. As you saw my mailbag video, I shook the box around, you can hear it rattling around inside the box, hitting the sides, right? So, you know, yeah. Right, that's my rant. So, anyway, have a good one, and don't buy from this guy. Catch you later.